If you don't control how you move, you are not going to be able to control how others perceive you. Right. And like I said, body language is huge when it comes to how people perceive you. If you're a kind of guy that sits around like this all the time, people naturally feel an insecurity from you. Right. And it's your body language projecting that. If you walk around with your hands in your pockets all the time, that also comes across as insecure. If you sit in a chair and you cross your legs like this, right? Like this, TikTok, you cross your legs like that, it's a very feminine way to sit. And a lot of people will sort of get this impression that you don't really have that dominant masculine presence when you sit that way. A more dominant way to sit is where you have your legs out, right? You take up space, right? You man spread a little bit, right? Just one of the reasons why lifting weights, right? We always talk about going to the gym, lifting weights in the space. Lifting weights isn't just about muscles, right? If people see someone with a good physique that's in shape, um, that they automatically are given a little bit of respect because it takes a lot of effort to have that kind of physique. It takes a lot of work to put that in. People almost always look at that with a little bit of, respect and admiration. Okay. So going to the gym, working on your physique is a part of your physicality. Now, one thing I like to tell guys in the space is that the bar's never been lower. The bar's never been lower, right? 75% of people out there are overweight and obese, right? So if you are just not overweight, you're already in the top 25% of people. So just not being fat, I'm probably going to get kicked off of TikTok here, but just not being overweight automatically puts you in a category that's judged a little bit better, right? That's a part of your physicality. So at least start there. Okay. We can't all look like, I mean, I guess we could, if we put that kind of effort and work in, right? We can't all look like The Rock, unless we get on the sauce, we get on the trend bologna sandwiches and work out tons and watch our diet. we all could, right? We all have the capability of doing it. But you don't have to go that far. Just at the very least, try not to be overweight. You're already going to be doing much better than most people. Mindset and frame control, becoming an emotional center. This is, I think, one of the hardest things for guys to master, right? And even then, I don't know if anyone's truly going to be able to master it, right? We are human at the end of the day. We have emotions. Certain things trigger us, and we're not robots, right? So having an element of emotional control is really good to work on and try to become like good at that. But it's okay if you realize that you're not going to be perfect with it, right? But it's the hardest thing for men to do, man. Like we're supposed to be these rational beings, but I think guys get so flustered and so angry so easily. And when you're trying to point that out to them, like, hey man, like you need to take a step back and like work on that. Like, man, it's so hard for them to get out from under that, especially if they've been having like this anger control problem their whole life. So hard to get out from under that, right? But when you realize that if you don't get a good handle of that, other people will be able to control you much better, right? People are more easily controlled when they don't have control of their own emotions. You understand? Like your wife will be able to push your buttons and manipulate you because she's able to make you pissed off. She's able to make you feel guilty. She's able to make you feel like whatever to get you to do what she wants you to do. That's how women manipulate men all the time. If you can control those emotions and your reactions, you're less susceptible to her manipulation. And then she'll actually have more respect for you. It's an interesting dynamic. It's almost like a paradox, right? She's trying to manipulate you, but she really doesn't want to be able to. And the way she's able to is by getting you in your feelings and emotions, right? But if you could control that and not react to her, but respond to her, she'll have more respect for you. It's fascinating how that works. But the moment a woman or another man could shake you emotionally, you lose your presence. You lose your presence and you lose their respect. Okay. So this is why it's important to get that under control. Some tools with that is agree and amplify or indifference. Okay. And this is why those tools put controlling your emotions and your reactions in your hands, right? A woman tries to manipulate you or she tries to test you in some way, and you have these tools in your toolbox like agree and amplify or indifference. She's not able to manipulate you, right? She's not able to get you up in your feels because you're showing her like, hey, like I'm not taking you seriously, right? Those are very excellent tools in your toolbox to maintain your frame controls in those types of situations, right? And you'll find that the best leaders and high status men rarely react emotionally, right? You'll find that they tend to be cool cucumbers, crisis hits. They're very calm when they're speaking. That's why you'll see like world leaders when like war breaks out, most of the time they give speeches in the camera, in front of the camera, very calm, cool, very deliberate, because that tonality that reassures the populace that they've got things handled, right? There's a reason why they do it that way. Could you imagine if any president was like totally flustered and they're like, I don't even know what's going on. They're crying and stuff. Like you wouldn't trust their ability to lead this country. I don't care what side of the political spectrum you're on, right? You would be like, what is up with this guy? He's acting like a little bee hatch, right? Vocal tonality and commanding speech. Like I said before, your tonality and your body language matters. It's all a part of the presence that you're projecting out there. So your vocal tonality and commanding speech will help you if you can get it into a place where you're very steady and reassuring when you talk. You're going to command that attention and respect from people, right? So this is where one of the things that Thor recommends in his book is to actually speak less. Speak less. I have a hard time with that because I am a blabbermouth. Which is helpful for podcasting, but it's not that good when you're trying to have a dominant masculine presence, right? That's one of the reasons why Nurse Chick and I get along so well, because she doesn't talk at all. So I'm like, okay, blah, 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 just run my mouth. But I see this in meetings. Right? Like in the corporate world, you'll see this in meetings. There's certain people that speak with slow, deliberate certainty in a meetings. They get to their points, they make their points, and then they stop talking, right? Then you have people that run their mouths trying to sound more intellectual and important than they really are, and they're really just spinning a bunch of nonsense. Have you ever been in a meeting like that where someone's just like, they're running their mouth just to make it sound like they're doing more than they really are? Like that is annoying to me. And that if it's a dude doing that, it's clear that they don't have a dominant masculine presence, right? So speak less, but when you do speak with impact. Okay. That's going to help your presence.
New episodes every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Subscribe now.